Hi and welcome back to Lection about typography. Typography plays a vital role in communication in web. More than 95% of information on the web is in the form of written language. According to Wikipedia, typography is the art and technique of arranging type to make written language legible, readable, and appealing when displayed. Typography involves selecting typefaces, point sizes, line lengths, line spacing leading, and letter spacing tracking, and adjusting the space between pairs of letters, kerning. Good typography makes the act of reading effortless, while poor typography turns users off. Optimizing photography is optimizing your user interface. In the following lesson, we will going to pass through a set of rules that will help you improve readability and legibility of your text content. Try to avoid mixing typefaces. Using more than 3 different fonts makes a website look unstructured and unprofessional. In general, limit the number of font families to a minimum and stick to the same ones through the entire website. 2 is plenty, 1 is often sufficient. If you do use more than one font, ensure the font families complement each other based on their character width. Modify the font size. Traditionally, the web has tortured us with tiny fonts. Research studies show that large font size evokes stronger feelings and convey meaning. So, how do you determine font size? Start with the body text. Change the font size to 15 or 25 pixels. Here's an example of the opening chapter of Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. On the left, the font size is set to default of 12 pixels. Such a small font size will strain your eyes. After increasing the font size to 15 pixels, reading Harry Potter is much better. Scale your headings. Headings serve as signposts for readers so that they can quickly digest the overall structure of your articles. Limit yourself to 2 levels of headings. Change the primary heading to 180 to 200% of the body text. If you have a secondary heading, modify it to 130 to 150% of the body text. Don't minimize spacing between lines. In typography, we have a special term for the spacing between 2 lines of text: line height. By increasing the line height, you increase the vertical white space between lines of text, generally improving readability in exchange for screen real estate. As a rule, line height should be about 30% more than the character height for good readability. Limit line length. Having the right amount of characters on each line is key to the readability of your text. Ideally, you should have around 60 characters per line if you want a good reading experience. Having the right amount of characters on each line is key to the readability of your text. For mobile devices, you should go for 30 to 40 characters per line. Long lines are probably one of the most common problems in website design on the website. Common practice that improves readability is having the right amount of characters per each line. Long lines of text are difficult to read, straining the user's eyes and causing tiredness. Shorter lines are easier, but if they are too short, the eye will have to travel back too often, breaking the reader's rhythm. Make sure you have sufficient color contrast. Don't use the same or similar colors for text and background. The more visible the text, the faster users are able to scan and read it. The W3C recommends the following contrast ratio for body text and image text. Small text should have a contrast ratio of at least 4.5 to 1 against its background. Large text at 14 points bold or 18 points regular and up should have a contrast ratio of at least 3 to 1 against its background. Once you made your color choice, it's absolutely necessary to test it out with real users on most devices. If any of the tests show a problem with reading your copy, then you can be sure that your users will have exactly the same problem. Use standard fonts. We have passed through some basic rules linked to typography and shaping of text on web page. All that we are going to apply in our projects. Only thing left is to decide how to choose the right font. There are different font embedding services and have a lot of interesting fonts that can give your design something new, fresh, and unexpected. The most popular and the most used font embedding service is Google Fonts. Google Fonts is a library of 963 licensed fonts. The typefaces of Google Fonts are totally free for commercial use, so you will not have any trouble with licensing. Next to it, the fonts are easy to implement on your website, so you also won't have trouble with font embedding. Additionally, you can restrict the character set if you don't need certain characters, which will reduce loading time. How to get to Google Fonts? In Google search bar, type Google Fonts. After search, click on Google Fonts page. You see, it is a library of different kinds of fonts and they are all free. You can choose fonts by category, language. You can actually sort them in any way you want. For example, we will choose font Roboto. Right from the name, we are going to click on button Select this font. On bottom of screen, there is a rectangle that says One Family Selected. Click on it to open. When it opens, we are going to click on Palette Customize to choose versions of the font we want to activate. That's the same as choosing italic, bold or some other style. We are going to choose regular 400, regular 400 italic, medium 500 and bold 700. Next to it, we are going to choose language. Let's choose Latin and Latin Extended for example. After that, we are back on Palette Embed. There we have tag link. This tag with all of its attributes we are going to copy in our HTML document, and that way we have embedded this font in our project. We won't do that now because we don't have our project yet. We were just explaining how to use Google Fonts. Don't worry, in our projects we are going to use a lot of Google Fonts and we are going to show you in which part of HTML document you actually insert this link tag. Next to web design, Google Fonts can be used offline too, for example, on your computer for graphic design. In that case, you need to download the chosen font and install it. You download font by clicking on the icon with an arrow showing down on the right side of screen and choosing Download. When you download file, right-click on the icon and press Install Font. After that, you have that font on your PC and you can use it in different kinds of programs, MS Word, Adobe Illustrator, and so on. We have come to the end of lesson about typography. We have 2 more lessons before the beginning of our projects. In next lesson, we are going to talk about colors and how to choose right colors for website. See you there.